Hello and welcome to WNBA Courtside. I'm Cyrus. I'm here with the host of incredible people. We've got Lethabo, we've got Kaunda, Chama, but we've also got Nthabiseng. So welcome everybody.
Hey, Cyrus.
So we've had another great week of WNBA action, and yeah, okay, fine, I'm picking on Kaunda a little bit, but you know, he deserves it because he supports the Sparks. What we want to do this week is we're going to talk about the teams that have become our sort of surprise packages, people who've done better than expected. I guess you could also, if you want to, include the Seattle Storm be in that mix, though we kind of expected them to do well. And we're also going to talk about the teams that have been the underperformers, those who sold us dreams, and this is where we sit. We're waiting for them to ignite. So I'm going to hand over to Lee first, because Lee doesn't just write a lot, she also has a lot of opinions. Lee, tell us, you have to have a surprise package, somebody that you've been very, very interested to see, and this is team specific. So go for it.
Obviously, the Washington Mystics and my fave, Heinz Allens. They've looked phenomenal. Their roster is nowhere near the same from last year. You would think that without their superstar MVP, without Christy Tolliver, you would think that we would be headed down the gutter. But we're actually looking at contention again. And I think it's off of the back of her and also Ariel Atkins. I think the both of them have really stepped up. I mean, Ariel Powers comes in there and there, but I think as a whole, that team has been really, really great.
Oh, it's good to hear. I mean, it's quite surprising for me in a way because their record is 3-5. But having said that, they're not the only ones who are sitting on a record of, you know, let's say less than par. Kaunda, do you agree in terms of, that level of performance is important? Who's your surprise package? Maybe they're also in one of those groups.
No. Actually, I was like, yo, what show is Leon? But anyway, moving right along. My surprise package actually comes in twofold. I got the Aces and the Lynx, both with a 6-2 record.
Yeah.
And if I was to pick between the two, I think I'll go with Aces because they're on a 5-game streak. And you know, at the beginning of the season, remember we did say, things are looking kind of worrying in Vegas there. But I think at the moment it's Viva Las Vegas as they go on as they stay on a 5-game winning streak. But the Lynx also, because I thought, you know, too much changes going on over there. Maya never came back, and I thought, maybe they're going to struggle from the jump. But they've, pleasantly surprised me. So I'll go with the Aces. Yeah, Las Vegas Aces.
So you've gone Lynx Aces. When we ask you for one, you give us two. This is Kaunda Chama. He's a giving man. You know. It's actually interesting because I suppose you're going with Aces. They're a bit of a surprise for you. I'd expected them to be better. And I guess the surprise is because they've lost somebody as important as Kelsey Plum. Okay, and Ntabi, do you have a completely different pick to everybody else here?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't know why Lee's still vibing with the Mystics after they got thrashed the way that they did. So I don't know why you're still on that train, but you know what?
You guys are doing this again. Do you want this to be another team so that we can come here and I can say I'm right again?
Yes.
Do you want to do this?
That's what we love.
Okay,
That's what we love.
Go ahead, you were saying.
I know Lee will come after me with New York Liberty and my picks with them, so I think it's only natural for me to go after her with her Mystics. Even though, my favorite performers were the Aces. I love Aya Wilson, and I think she's an incredible player. I think she will probably be, like you said, Cyrus, the LeBron James of the WNBA.
Of the WNBA, yeah.
Actually,
No, I said that, Kaunda. Don't be claiming my stuff, man. Don't be claiming my stuff. I see. It's the episode of just battles today.
I think her shooting has quite improved, and I think she will get to the 3-point line because I feel like she's moving further and further away. And I think her inside game is great, but I think once she gets that shot, once she gets that 3-point shot going, she'll be unstoppable.
So you're saying A'ja Wilson's the reason why you're picking the Aces, so they're your surprise package of the season as well, so far.
Yeah, because I didn't think I thought they would be okay, but I didn't think they'd be as good as they are right now with the pieces that they're missing. But They're working around with what they have, and they're doing good with it.
You see, this is what I
gotta
love.
agree with you, Nthabi. Sorry, I'm jumping in, Cyrus, but I gotta agree with Nthabi because you know me. As much as I love Asia Wilson, I also love Liz Cambage. And when I heard that Liz Cambage wouldn't be there, I really got worried. To be honest, I thought these guys are gonna be,
They're short in the center position.
Yeah, and they're gonna get thrashed from the jump. And then here you go. They're looking pretty good. I know there's still a lot of basketball to be played, but I'm pleasantly surprised by the Aces.
But you see, that's a beautiful thing because we've all sort of mentioned different reasons why we've made the picks we've made. Obviously for Lethabo, there's a crazy mad love for the Mystics. And I must say, I've been very impressed with them. But my team, I've been harping on about them every week. We might as well even just name myself Chicago Sky Rogers, because the Chicago Sky have just been ridiculously good. And I say this mainly because they weren't any of our picks for one of the teams to watch this season, really. We didn't think that they had enough of the right kinds of pieces. Obviously, Courtney Van Der Sloot is a point guard, and we'll talk about her a little bit just now. But she's such a stabilizing force in that team. But you've still got a shooter in Ali Quigley. So to see somebody like Kalia Copper then step up, come to the fore and be one of the leaders in that team, and then for the Sky to be performing at the level that they're doing is just incredibly satisfying to see for somebody who's just a fan of the underdog story. And I think that's what you're getting from Chicago at the moment. So with every positive,
they have 6 players that average double digits, so in scoring.
How do you go against that? And what's interesting is that they've got a winning record at the moment. I mean, so time of recording now, it's 5-3. It might change as we put this out. But the thing for me about the Sky is always looking at it in terms of they're not necessarily streaky, but they try to keep very close to the opponents that they're playing, so that it gives them a chance to win games late if they're not necessarily playing their best. And if they are playing really well, then they could actually just pull ahead late in games. But like I was saying, there's always a positive and a negative. We've done the positive. Let's look at the negative side of things. Let's look at the teams who have underperformed, looking at expectation and where they're sitting. There's one particular team, Kaunda, that I'm sure a lot of us are going to mention, and you're saying it's a work in progress. So maybe we should start with you with the excuse making first. Who is your underperforming team right now?
Me. Look, first of all, I've got to come clean.
Yeah.
The Los Angeles Sparks are not doing as well as I thought they would, but we did mention the coaching problem there. But I'm going to start a fight because I'm going to say the team that has disappointed me really genuinely so far, especially after the discussions we had in previous episodes, are the Washington Mystics, who are 3-5 and they're on a skid right now. Like they're on a losing streak. So to me, I spoke against them, if you will, at the beginning, and then I figured, no, wait a minute, maybe I'm overplaying this EDD situation, and they can perform, but they're 3-5. I didn't expect them to be 3-5 with the Aces being 6-2. I mean, it's not something I expected to see. So personally, I'm kind of disappointed. I mean, the Sparks obviously are a disappointment to me because I'm a Sparks fan, but the Mystics, to me, I'm kind of surprised. And to me, if you ask me who has underperformed, it's Washington Mystics.
Now I see what you're doing here, because I see that Lethabo's got her "I gotta defend Russell Westbrook" look going, folded arms, all of that stuff. Let's also just put a little bit of a disclaimer here. If you look at the teams currently between the 4th position and let's say the 6th position, so that's the Mercury, the Sky, and the Sparks, their records are exactly the same. But I hear what you're saying, because the Mystics have obviously got a losing record. So that's your team. We'll leave your opinion there. Lethabo, you obviously have to get first right of refusal here. How you got respond.
I'm going to respond by saying that, first of all, a lot of their losses were close calls. So I think you're quickly pushing the panic button here. I think there's some games where, I think it's probably exhaustion, or I don't know what it is per se, but I don't necessarily view it as them headed on a downward slope. I'm just thinking this is part of the trajectory of the season. Even the Seattle Storm will have games where they look, not so great.
They had one. They had one. Well, if you look at the record,
even the game against Mercury, they didn't.
Yeah.
Brianna didn't look that great. So you're gonna have moments where teams go through this. I'm not pushing the panic button on them yet. I still see potential. It's not like they don't have shooters. It's not like they don't have like a specific problem area. It's just probably wear and tear and things of that nature. Okay. So I'm not about to throw them away. So sorry, it's not happening.
So then, obviously, you've had your defense. Now, who are you picking as your team that's underperforming?
Okay, I'm gonna say Connecticut Suns. It is a little bit unfair on one particular end, because especially considering the circumstances in which we entered the season, they came in hobbling, and I don't want to judge a crippled by the ability to run, but I've been saying for a minute that they're concerning, and you can really tell that they miss Jonquel Jones because she obviously opted out. That's one thing, but now I'm sure they're regretting the fact that they let Courtney Williams go, and I think Kurt Miller tried to pass it off as if, oh no, she didn't want to come back. But Courtney was like, no, I did want to come back, but they weren't trying to get my money right. And now this is what has manifested. So on that end, I do blame Kurt Miller on that you could have kept literally one of your best scorers and you didn't. And now literally and the second thing that I have a problem with Connecticut is that they don't really have an identity anymore. And that's important in basketball. Like, even if you're doing something as wild as the Houston Rockets, where like you pretty much give up the paint, but at least we understand their identity is to shoot from the three. Yeah. And then whether it works or not, we'll see. I think actually if they make a couple of moves next year, they could be a serious contender, but that's beside the point. But with the Connecticut, I'm just not getting an identity. The identity is right now, just throw the ball to Joanna Bona or Alyssa Thomas and hope for the best. And those two cannot simply be expected to carry the offense, especially Alyssa, who that was never her primary responsibility. That was usually either Jonquel Jones or Courtney Williams. She was just auxiliary, and now she's expected night in, night out to clock in and give you double digits. That's not fair. So for me, it's definitely Connecticut Suns.
Oh, Lethabo, you are an impressive person, and your cutting up of the entire thing has basically put all the segments into bite-sized chunks, because that's exactly it. You can see the problem that the Sun have. Nthabiseng, so it's your turn now. Who's underperformed for you, and where do they currently sit?
I'm riding with
right now.
Yeah, I'm riding with Kaunda. Like I said earlier, the Mystics got beat by Liberty, and Liberty's not even looking that great right now. So I hear what you're saying with the wear and tear on the body, but coming into this, you knew what was happening. Everybody has experienced that kind of situation where people, like, look at the Lynx. I mean, the Sparks right now, they've been playing a heck of a lot, but they still they didn't have NECA for a game, but they still come back and do what they can, right? And they win games even with that wear and tear. So as a coach, you need to know how to move your pieces around enough for you to maintain the kind of composure and the kind of game that you want to play, right? You talk about identity. Where is their identity? Only in EDD? Because if it is, that's why they're going to keep losing games. But if it's not, now I'm not saying that they don't have an identity. Don't get me wrong with that. I am just saying that we cannot put wear and tear into this mix. We just need to say they performed poorly.
We'll get to you, Lee. No, Nthabiseng, I absolutely love that, because the thing is, you obviously have got your views here. It's important. Lee's losing her mind. She needs to get out of this. Okay, respond, Lee.
Once again, did I not say a lot of these games were close calls? Now I'm actually looking at their schedules and results, because you guys have me stressed. So against the Aces, it was literally a 6-point game. Against the Chicago Sky, which is the best, considered probably the best team, second best team in the league right now, only behind by 2 points. So that was a 2-point loss. The only real blowouts, fine, if you really want to nail them on the crossball, is the loss against the Minnesota Lynx, where they lost by 20 points. That I can accept. But all this thing that they don't have the identity, they have multiple scorers. They're really good on defense. It's just, I mean, also remember, a lot of them, this is their first year playing full minutes, because Hines Allens was a proper bench warmer last season, and now she's at the front hold of the offense. So of course they're going to have snags, but I just don't believe that now we should solely look at the snags and completely disregard the fact that they actually started off well. Now, that's just me.
I don't know if anybody's necessarily doing that, though you're the only one who's actually been able to have a reply here. So I'm going to leave it at that, because I think everybody's got their opinions. I have to give you mine. Mine is not the Mystics. Actually, I'm going after Kaunda here. Let me wait for him to take a sip. He might just spit take. We don't want that. I feel like the LA Sparks, for me, haven't been the team that I was expecting to see as one of the contenders. They've got a winning record. They're sitting at 5-3. I think that's pretty good. But I think the problem with them is that I haven't seen that evolution, because last season they had issues they hadn't necessarily dealt with. And so they were bettered by teams who shouldn't actually have been close to them because of the level of star players that they have. There are obviously gears that are grinding in that team. I'm not going to go and make another meal about situations with people in charge and playing staff and all sorts of stuff like that. But I think that their teething process is costing them. Now, it's going to be interesting because there will be games where they will definitely show out and they'll win big. But then there'll also be those games where you just don't see who's pitched up. And I think that's one of the problems for me with the Sparks this season. I would love to see Nneka Ogumike win another championship. We'll do it for the African continent. But there are other teams out there like the Seattle Storm who we haven't mentioned at all, because obviously they've neither been a surprise package nor a letdown. But the Sparks, I think, can do a lot better. And we're not saying any of these teams can't improve. I think that's basically what we're saying. We're just saying that at this moment in time, we're kind of like, oh man, somebody needs to pull up their socks. So we're going to leave that debate right there. Let's move very, very quickly on to the Players of the Week. Now, we had our Eastern Conference Player of the Week and the Western Conference Player of the Week. Eastern Conference Player of the Week, well, you know who I've been rooting for this whole time, and that's basically the Chicago Sky. So that means it leaves us with our Player of the Week in, come on guys, you can say her name.
Courtney Van Der Sloot.
It's Courtney Van Der Sloot. Asia is a Western Conference. Let's not get it twisted.
Western Conference. No, I thought you meant that. I thought you were saying that you're declaring your Eastern Conference favorite, and then now let's talk about the Western Conference. I misheard.
But Courtney Van Der Sloot should be everybody's Eastern Conference favorite. You know, she had a record of 14.7 points per game in the past week, 9.7 assists a game. That's ludicrous. I mean, what more can we say about Courtney Van Der Sloot? Nthabi, what have your thoughts been?
I mean, I keep saying that her game is incredible because she is that assist person that you need on a team. And when you have somebody who's instrumental like that, I don't think her team will not rally around her to help her perform the way that she needs to perform as she's helping them in turn. So I'm very impressed with her, and I think she's gonna continue just elevating and just improving more and more. And who knows, we might see double digits in her assists in the near future.
It looks very, very close. One of the things that Kaunda loves doing is that he says those assists actually are buckets. So let's remember that if she's averaging 9.7 assists, Kaunda, how many points does that contribute to you? I mean, you can round it off.
Of 18 points, right?
You
so
see,
I respect people who assist a lot, and that's why I like LeBron James. But anyway, moving right along. If you look at her numbers, right, not only is she scoring the points that she's scoring, but if she's scoring 14.7 points, right, and she's assisting in 9 points, let's just say 10 assists, that's like 20 points minimum if you're not adding assists on threes. So to me, assists are very important on the offensive level, and if she's putting up those kind of numbers on assists and those kind of numbers on points, I have no argument with Courtney Van Der Sloot being the Eastern Conference Player of the Week because, like, you know, she's putting in work, and I like the fact that she's seasoned.
Yeah, she is.
And you know, she's bringing that experience to that Chicago squad, and I think it's showing early that she is one of the leaders, if not the de facto leader of this team.
No, and she definitely is the leader of this team. And much like you've got your Diana Taurasi's and your Sue Birds, they make the game seem so slow and so simple because they take their time to do the right things. Lethabo, what have you seen from Courtney Van Der Sloot so far?
I mean, a leader on court. I mean, I think she's part of the reason why. I mean, obviously, it's not just her. That whole team is just really good in scoring. I mean, they have like 6 players averaging double digits. And part of the reason is the fact that you have a facilitator like that, because if everybody's playing iso ball, it's a different, it's a different game entirely. But because they have somebody who can kind of open up the offense, it means that everybody can get their shots. And I think that's why I think a lot of them have improved even. So yeah, well deserved.
I'm a big fan of Courtney Van Der Sloot. I think obviously we've talked about the East. Let's go to the West. A'ja Wilson, Western Conference Player of the Week. They had a 3-0 week. She averaged 25.7 points a game, 8 rebounds a game, and 1.67 blocks a game. I mean, A'ja Wilson for me really is going to be a dominant player in the WNBA. She's starting to really see her skill set sort of normalize. She's getting used to playing that role that she has to for the Aces, and she's a cornerstone of that franchise, like without the likes of Liz Cambage. And she said, stop talking about me if I'm not there. But without the likes of Liz Cambage, she has to be the one that they sort of turn to. And it's great to have Angel McCoughtry there and a few other of the other players also stepping up. Lee, do you think A'ja is the kind of player who could potentially propel this team even further?
Not on her own. She can't do it on her own. I think that's why the addition of Liz Cambage was important. I think it's hero ball, right? Like even once again, just thinking about some of the games. I didn't watch any of Aces games this weekend, but last weekend I watched a few. Just like when she's off the court, like they do get a little anemic, and it depends on which Angel pitches up. That's another thing, because sometimes McCoughtry's there and sometimes, so it can't just be her. She does need help. But I would argue the same thing I would argue the same thing for almost anybody. I'd never leave a Brianna Stewart to be there by herself either. Yeah. Because when you have off nights, like Brianna did against Phoenix, you do need everybody else, pretty much pitching in. And it can't be, the offense just cannot be you alone, or you and then everybody else kind of puts in like their crummy 2 cents. It doesn't work like that. Not in this WNBA.
No, and that's a beautiful thing. Nthabiseng, you in agreement? You happy with what you're seeing from A'ja Wilson?
I am. I really am happy with A'ja Wilson. I think she's quite a performer, and she's taken the team on her shoulders, right? And I agree with you, Lee. She can't do it alone, but she does have Kayla McBride. And you're right. If we don't see the vintage Angel McCoughtry play, then she may struggle a little bit. But I think she's got some support, with Kayla. And as much as I forget the other light-skinned girl's name with the curly hair. I forget what.
Rhea Hartley, is that her?
Dearica Hamby.
Dearica Hamby, yeah. Hamby.
Oh, sorry.
I think she's got her, as a support as well. And I think we write her off, but she's been playing well. And she's, I think, with A'ja, with Angel, and Kayla McBride, they'll be okay. They'll be okay.
Hamby's been playing really well. She's so aggressive. It's incredible. Like when she gets in people's faces, let's not forget the Hamby half-court heave. See what I did there,
Clutch too.
So she's the kind of player who can actually bring you something that you didn't expect. Kaunda, A'ja Wilson, I've been hopping on about her. You try to claim it. What are your thoughts about her stats this past week?
Cyrus, if you're going to all the editions of the podcast, I said this is the WNBA's
Yes, WNBA Courtside.
Okay,
Totally different show.
moving right along. Wait, now we're a completely different show. But look, I love what she's doing. I love her confidence. I mean, since she came into the league, she's had that confidence. It's kind of like she also came into the league with a chosen one tattoo on her back, you know. And I expected nothing less from watching her tapes before she came into the league, watching her first season, seeing what she can do. And I think this season, and I keep hopping on this, and I promise this might be my last time, with the absence of Liz Cambage, that puts a bit more pressure on her. But obviously, getting an Angel McCoughtry, another a vet coming in to assist, but is not. He doesn't really play in the paint, doesn't play in the center position like what Liz do. You get a little concerned, but then again, I think the kind of player that Asia is one that says, look, I'll work with the pieces that I have and I'll rally them around me and see what we can do. And I think their record so far speaks for themselves. But then again, let's not forget that there's still a lot of basketball to be played here. But has been a great start. You can't fault the start. You can't say, okay, you've started off well, but still we won't give you your props because you could lose going forward. It's been a great start.
If you're averaging 25.7 points a game, you're pretty much doing a darn good job, especially when you're adding 8 rebounds to that mix. So,
and if the team is sitting like on joint fourth, right?
Yeah.
In the league, so that's a great start, and I think kudos to Asia Wilson.
They're sort of joint second,
if you will. But you know, she's the scoring leader in the league at the moment, and I think she's putting in work. I fancy her to one day, be an MVP contender.
I think she's definitely going to be in that conversation as he sips his water. We're coming to the end of the show, so one of the things I want to do is go through some of the games to watch this weekend. There's going to be 3 that we're picking out, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask all of you to give me your winners in those games. So I'll list all 3, and then you just tell me who you think the winners will be. So let's start with you, Nthabiseng. So we've got Minnesota Lynx versus Las Vegas Aces. We've got Washington Mystics versus Las Vegas Aces. And we've got Dallas Wings versus the Phoenix Mercury. The first game is early Friday morning here in Africa. The second game is Saturday evening. And then the third game is on Sunday. So let's start with Lynx Aces. Who you got in that one?
Lynx Aces. Man, that's a tough call. Shucks. I think I'm going to go with Minnesota. I hate to do this, but I think I'll go with Minnesota.
Okay, cool. Nothing wrong with going with Minnesota. Many have done so and won championships in the past. Kaunda,
I'm gonna go with the Aces at the moment. I favor the Aces. I know both teams have got the same record at the moment, but somehow, someway, after all that praise I showered on Asia Wilson, I can't bet against Asia Wilson. So it's Viva Las Vegas one more time.
Lethabo, Lynx Aces.
Aces, Lynx for me look a little anemic on offense.
So
good call.
Aces for you. I've gone against the grain all of these times because I keep thinking, no, man, there's no way. But I actually think this might be the game where Napheesa Collier hopefully, comes to her the peak of her powers and does something. I think the Lynx have got something going here. They've actually had a pretty good season, bar a lot of the issues happening around that team. So I'm going to go Lynx. And then we'll go around the clock again, and we'll start with you, Lethabo. Mystics versus Aces happening on Saturday. I'm pretty sure we know where you're going with this one.
You said wait. Is this you said Mystics and who?
Aces.
Oh, Mystic Aces. You know what? I'm really going to say Mystics, and I'm going to get shot, and it's fine, and I will die on this hill alone. It is okay. Because, I do think, especially after a slew of losses, they're looking at each other like, bruv, like, we looking mad out here. Like, let's do something about this. I think they could possibly shoot the lights out at it. And once again, the only thing with Aces, once again, is that their game is very paint-driven. They still can't shoot from the 3.
Yeah.
And that hasn't changed. And the Mystics can. So that's it.
Mystics for you.
Although I wouldn't be surprised though if the Aces do win because Asia Wilson is on a streak.
You see,
But I will say, it's still Mystics.
You're still Mystics, though possibly Aces. Kaunda?
Still driving through that Las Vegas strip, boy.
Okay, so Aces for you.
You know what? Because the Mystics are in a slump right now, and I think it would take a bit of time to get out of it. So I'm still going to bet my money on the house here in Las Vegas. So I'm Vegas Aces all the way.
See,
shout out to Asia Wolf.
I love that. Mainly because slumps are there to be broken by teams, and this could be the game that does it. Nthabiseng, who are you going
don't
with?
let me come back on here next week and tell you again.
This is what
Again.
this show has the receipts.
That's what I live for.
This
That's
show
what
has
I
the
live
receipts. Nthabiseng, it's your turn.
I'm going with the, I almost said thanks. I'm going with Vegas here. And I think it's because the Mystics are going to come in with that, guys, we got to win mentality. And the Aces are going to come in with that, we need to maintain our winning streak. We're not going to lose this game. I don't think they're going to come in big-headed at all. Because I think that's what people will think that, they got this on lock, why not?
Well, if anything, Coach Bill Mbeo will definitely make sure that his charges don't forget that they have to work hard. And I'm also going Aces in this one. Sorry, Lee, this is no battle against you, but I just think the Aces might be a little bit more ready for this game. They just seem to, they could be in lockstep because that game against the Lynx, if I'm saying that the Lynx are going to beat them there, they might want to get back to winning ways in this Mystics game. So let's go to the final game of the weekend that we've chosen to preview. And I'm going to start with you and Nthabiseng, and that's the Dallas Wings versus the Phoenix Mercury. I think it's going to be a good game. Who do you think is going to come out on top there?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I watched Dallas play the Dream, and it was a good game. It was a good watch, to be honest. And then where Mercury is, I'm still not convinced with those guys. I think they still have to convince me a little bit more. So I guess I'm going to go with the Mercury as much as
Okay.
I'll go with the Mercury as much as they haven't convinced me that they are a winning team, but veteranship over
rookieship.
In Enrique, but
yeah,
we'll go with Mercury.
Okay, cool. Kaunda?
Well, sir, I'm not going to surprise you one bit because I'm all about the Mercury here. The Mercury is hot. I think I'm starting to believe in that Smith, Tarasi, Griner trifecta. I think it's starting to work. They're working things out, and the team's coming together very well. And I just don't think the Wings have what it takes to take the Mercury out this time around. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that.
I'm in Arizona once again. Mercury over Dallas.
Okay, Lethabo, you get your say. Is it going to be Dallas? Is it going to be Phoenix? Who's your pick?
It's going to depend on whether Tarasi comes back because she got hurt during that Storm game. And there's still it's still I mean, I know that her MIR came clear, but there's still no. Yeah. Sorry. Brain fart. But I haven't heard anything relating to her coming back or return of play. And so my decision is largely based on if she doesn't come back, I do not see I think it's going to be a lot closer just because, I mean, she's a glue. When she gets hot, everybody, that offense functions around her. And yeah, I just don't think Skylar is comfortable yet in her role. And I think Tarasi helps her out so long as she's there. But if she's not there, I'm concerned. So it depends on Tarasi, really. My answer is simple if Tarasi's there. If she's not, it's a different story.
So it's going to be a hard and fast. Give me your answer. Wings or Mercury? Tarasi or no? You got to say.
Is Tarasi there? It's a different answer.
Okay, so if Tarasi's there,
yes,
then
end of
yes.
discussion.
And if she's
Tarasi's
not there, you don't know. You know they can't draw. So you're going to have to pick one.
Okay, fine. Phoenix wins. Yeah.
Okay, cool. There we go. We finally got it. No more fence sitting. That's Kaunda's job. I'm going to go with Phoenix on this one. I do think that the Mercury will have too much for them, regardless of whether DT is there or not. I think that Skylar might actually revel in being able to have more control of the ball and find her teammates in this one. I am a massive Arike Gumbowale fan, but I think that the problem she faces is that the other teammates haven't necessarily risen to the level that she's playing at. And especially when you've got a player like Satu Sabali, who's a rookie, in a very critical position, a small forward, you start wondering whether or not they'll get there this season. They've played very well, had some good results, but I think that the Mercury should just outlast them, primarily looking at the fact that they've got some really good veterans. But thank you, everybody. We come to the end of the show, so thank you for being on.
Can I give a shout out before we go?
Yes, give a shout out.
Big shout out to Kennedy Carter, people.
Yeah.
That young girl is part of the future.
Yeah.
I have been amazed in the games I've watched Kennedy Carter. I'm like, yo.
Yeah, she's been balling. She's been balling, but it's one of those things where people can say you play real nice, Arike Ngubowale or Kennedy Carter, but then we look at your team and be like, ooh, there's a lot of work to be done. But thank you so much for being on WNBA Courtside, everybody. Make sure you follow us on socials. You will catch all of the stuff. We're putting the details down for you. And also a big shout out to the music provider for our episodes going forward. That's Clark Blanche. You can hit him up on all of the socials as well. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.